Mr. President, we're here today with our government's doors shuttered because of a failure to understand basic civics. And frankly, this my way or the highway brinksmanship has been building for so long here in Washington, D.C., that I won't be surprised if the American people just say a pox on both your houses, Republicans and Democrats. But why are we in this fix, Mr. President? How did we get here? Sometimes when you're lost in the woods, it helps to retrace your footsteps so that you can find the way back out. We're here because some of our colleagues have forgotten their middle school civics lessons. They've forgotten that I'm Just a Bill episode of Schoolhouse Rock that some of the folks from the 70s and 80s remember, which reminds us all that to pass a bill or to repeal a bill, that you have to meet certain tests. You need a majority of the House of Representatives. You need a majority of the Senate, and if someone's going to filibuster, you need 60 votes. And you need the signature and the support of the President. We're here because my colleagues who want to repeal the Affordable Care Act don't have a majority of the Senate. They certainly don't control the White House, despite waging an entire election over the health care law. And since they can't repeal the health care law the way that we all learned about in middle school, they've decided to try something new. They've taken the government hostage. They've said, if you don't give me what I want, we're going to close down the federal government. Can you imagine, Mr. President, what it would look like if Democrats employed this kind of reckless and irresponsible tactic? What if we said, unless you raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, we aren't going to pass a spending bill? Or remember in 2009, when our party tried to pass a cap-and-trade bill? We didn't have the votes to overcome a filibuster in the Senate, so I guess the lesson here is that we should have refused to fund the government until Republicans relented and passed a cap-and-trade bill. Can you imagine? That's not how our democracy works. It's not what our founders envisioned, and it's not compromise. Mr. President, it's extortion. It is our job to pass a spending bill every year. We can fight about how big that bill is. We can fight about how small that bill is going to be. But constitutional duty is not optional. Now, some are saying there needs to be further compromise in the spending bill. But it's clear that sometimes the Republican House doesn't know when to declare victory. They actually got the spending levels that they asked for. In the interest of keeping the government open, the Senate accepted House spending levels, sequester levels, in our funding resolution. I don't like those spending levels, Mr. President. Most Democrats don't support those spending levels. But we aren't willing to risk the entire economy or the well-being of our constituents just to get our way. The bottom line here is this: it's time to reopen the government. No strings attached, no policy riders, and no more hostage-taking. Just a clean funding bill that stops hurting our public servants, our communities, and our economy. A clean funding resolution that keeps the lights on while we negotiate, Mr. President, over a long-term budget. The Senate had the votes to pass such a bill, and we did. The House also has the votes to pass a clean funding bill, but Speaker Boehner won't bring it to the floor. He won't put it up for a vote because the most extreme members of his caucus want to play hostage politics instead. It's time to end this. It's time to drop the hostage politics and simply pass the one plan that has the votes to pass both chambers, a clean funding bill. So Speaker Boehner, let them vote. Let your members vote their conscience on a clean funding resolution. It's your duty, Mr. Speaker. Just let them vote. That's all we ask. And Mr. President, I would yield back my time.